alternatives for mobile video today on Call for Help.
Well, hello there. How are you? Good to see you. Where have you been? Oh, I'm just glad you came back, that's all. We've been here waiting for you for the last 24 hours, dying to do episode 434 of Call for Help. This is the show where we explain how technology works. I'm Leo Laporte. This is Amber MacArthur, my able co-host. And today she's going to show you how to put your videos squished out on a little screen.
I'm actually showing off a couple of devices. One of them is kind of an alternative to the iPod, but it's very, very tiny. It's from Creative.
Oh.
And the other one is watching TV on your cell phone. So I'm going to show off a new cell phone that I just got, which
Little
I love.
screens. Oh, yeah, you have a new cell phone?
Yeah, I really,
Seems
really
like you have
it.
a new cell phone almost all the time.
This is it. This is the final.
This is the one you're sticking with?
I love it, yeah.
This has got to be good.
It's good.
All right, I can't wait to see it. Also, Leila Boujnan is back, and she's going to talk about getting your photos published. Last time she was here, she was talking about how to keep your photos from being published without your permission. Now, the other way around. Also, we're going to talk to Bill Sweetman about search engine optimization and publishing, another way to get your name out there, your own email newsletter.
Ooh, great.
Without being seen as a spammer. Because that's kind of the trick nowadays.
Yeah, it definitely is. I actually started publishing a newsletter online. That was one of my first jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
It's different now, I think, because people are so paranoid about spam and mass emails. I think it's kind of harder to do an email newsletter.
I think it is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
People are just getting too many emails these days.
Yeah.
But even there are those people who do it well, like dailycandy.com.
We like that one.
They're great. There's one in Toronto called Sweet Spot, and it's another great newsletter. So there's people out there who figured out how to do a good job of it.
Very cool. But all of that's all well and good. But I think really the real reason I'm here anyway, I don't know about you, but the real reason I'm here is because of my great good looks. No, it's because I answer phone calls, so let's get another one on the air.
All right, we have Jake on the webcam from Stephenville, Newfoundland.
And my great good looks. Hello, Jake, how are you? Yeah, she's laughing. Jake, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, talking about good looking, here's a great looking picture from Jake all the way in the Netherlands. Oh, I'm sorry, Newfoundland?
Yeah.
Oh, well, close.
No problem.
I'm just teasing. What can I do for you, Jake?
Well, on my laptop, I installed any kind of video game, like just for PC.
Okay.
And I can only play it for like 5 minutes, then it shuts down my system completely.
Ooh, that's not good, is it?
No.
So there's two possibilities. One would be a software problem, one would be a hardware problem. The hardware problem would be an overheating problem. Because, I mean, think about it. What really challenges your computer more than anything else? It's games. And you start playing them, and then 5 minutes in, everybody's working really hard, and everybody's getting really, really hot, and the computer has a cutoff circuit in there that when the temperature reaches a certain point, it just goes, no more, because any more than that, we're going to burst into flame. So it could be overheating. That one's kind of hard to test, but you can get programs like Motherboard Monitor and run them and kind of keep an eye on them while you're gaming. And if the temperature starts to go up and up and up above maybe 60 or 70 degrees Celsius, that could well be what's going on. One other thing would be, it could be a driver issue. There could be something we call a memory leak. When a program has a memory leak, it doesn't release memory after it uses it. It just grabs more and more and more and more and more. And that can also cause a crash because at some point, of course, you run out of RAM and boom, things go south. So it could be that. One thing I would try before, as I said, watch your temperature. Do you hear the fans spin up and get really loud as you're playing the game?
Yeah, it's kind of humming there.
Yeah, humming.
Yeah.
Okay. We might have a fix for that. Another thing to test in software is the DirectX drivers. Try DXDIAG. This is the DirectX diagnostic. You can do it, run it on Windows by clicking the Start button, hitting the Run, and then entering DXDIAG in the Run box. This will test your drivers to make sure there's no problems with them. This is another good way to see if there's an issue with your drivers, which it could be. But, I think if you're saying the fans get pretty loud and revved up, I'm thinking it could be a heat issue. And short of buying better fans, there is a way to fix this. And Sean actually has, we've shown these before. In fact, remember Andy and Mike did a test of these things. We had a thermocouple. We put down Mike's shorts, and we had his laptop in his lap, and we tried these various cooling devices. If you take a look at what Deshaun is holding right now, That's a USB powered. It has fans in the bottom. You put your laptop on it, and we found that it sucks about 10 degrees Celsius off of the laptop, and probably enough to keep it running. They're not expensive. You go to eBay, you can buy these for $4 or $5.
Yeah, these ones right here, the one that I'm showing off, the Antec model, is about $30.
That's
You
expensive.
can find it a bit less if you go looking.
It's a brand name.
Yes.
But the one Mike uses is some off-brand Chinese thing that was literally $4 or $5 on eBay. What did you search for on eBay, Sean? Mike, was it laptop cooler?
Laptop cooler, yes.
Laptop cooler. So let's go see what we could find out there. This might be, given. What are you laughing at, Sean? What are you laughing at?
Just Mike.
Just Mike, it makes me laugh too. He's got a cooler laptop. So one of the, based on what he's told us, Sean, is it hardware or software? What do you think?
It could be either.
It
If
could
it's
be either.
consistently at about 4 or 5 minutes, then that could definitely be the point where the heat is getting
Yeah,
too
it's always
much.
the same, you know.
I also had a new motherboard because I screwed up with Linux.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you had to put a new motherboard in?
Yeah,
How could Linux make you have to have a new motherboard?
or hard drive or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that
Well,
messed up
it
then?
could be that there were heat issues. Laptop cooler on eBay. Look, here's one for $9.47. Here's one. It's $1.84 right now, but $16 shipping. They get you on the shipping, don't they? That's always with eBay, you know. Oh, it's $3, $48 shipping. There's something wrong here. So, but just take a look and consider the shipping. Look, here's one that's 2 cents, but the shipping's $20. I don't think I'm gonna buy that one. In any event, there are plenty of places you can get these. I think probably getting a better one might be a good idea.
One thing that occurs to me, if something was replaced inside that notebook, when they put it back together...
Maybe they didn't connect the fans.
Well, if he's hearing the fans going on, that's one thing, but perhaps if they had to replace the motherboard and they replaced the fan on top of that, perhaps they didn't put the proper thermal grease in
That could be
where
it
it could
too.
be, so that it could just be overheating and shutting down.
Yeah.
So if it was serviced and it happened just after it came back, then that could be part of the issue.
You might take it back to the people who fixed it and say, hey, dude, it's overheating now. So did it always do that, or was it only since you had the upgrade?
Well, I never really tried it till after I had the upgrade.
Yeah. Tell them they messed it up. Motherboard monitors available from mbm.livewiredev.com. This is a program that works with most motherboards, most systems. You can run it. It's free. You run it on the computer, and it will tell you how hot it is. And keep an eye on that. You know, it's hard because you're playing the game, right?
Yeah.
So, and it cools off fast, like seconds after you stop playing the game. So play the game right up to like 4 minutes, 35 seconds, and then quickly switch over to motherboard monitor and see how hot it is. Just quickly. Then you'll see it'll be already going down. But I have to say, I think, what's that you got there behind you? Are you watching TV while you're watching TV?
Yeah, I'm watching G4.
Oh, good. All right. Well, at least you're watching something good and wholesome. All right, Jake. Hey, I thank you for the call.
Okay, can I get a autograph from you and Amber?
Anything you like, you can have.
Thank you.
We're blowing it out to the bare walls. It's all for sale. You want something from our set? Just let us know. Name a price. It's yours. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll be glad to. Hang on the line. We'll get you get your address and we'll send it out to you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Jake. Take care. Good luck in the Netherlands. Coming up. It's just me? Is it just me? It's just me. Coming up after the break, we're going to show you an amateur photographer. Actually, we're going to show all you amateur photographers a thing or two. Learn how you can have your images not only seen around the world, maybe even make a little money on it. Stay tuned. Amber MacArthur's got the latest right after this. Stay here.
Hey, Coco.
Boss?
You like pleasing customers. How about a promotion?
Yeah, awesome.
Here's the deal. Unlimited talk Canada-wide, unlimited messaging, and 1 gig of data for $60 a month.
Our customers will love it, but what about my promotion?
In your dreams.
Oh, I smell coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee.
As always, Fido is giving your budget a break with unlimited talk Canada-wide, unlimited messaging, 1 gig of data, call, display, and voicemail for $60 a month. And that includes the Fido Advantage.
Pam, can you call my mom?
Effective nighttime cold and flu symptom relief in just 1 dose. Vicks NyQuil Cold and Flu relieves nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, so you can sleep with a cold.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand. What men want.
With a select terrain dial that adjusts the Jeep Grand Cherokee's performance for specific weather and road conditions, even heavy snowstorms won't keep you from getting to work. Our apologies. The most awarded SUV ever. Jeep Grand Cherokee.
The world of photography has been revolutionized thanks to recent trends in tech. Now we've got photographers like Sean of all skill levels and even experimental shutterbugs who are sharing their images around the world. But is there a way for us non-professional photogs to benefit from our glimpses of brilliance? Layla Boujdan is with us today to talk about how we can get our pics out into the world and hopefully make a little bit of money as well.
Absolutely.
Hey Layla, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so you were on before, as Leo mentioned, telling us how we could really control our photos going into the world, and now you're telling us we can possibly make money off them.
Absolutely. You know, the technology, I mean, today's technology and digital photography is allowing everyone to take photographs. So if you actually love digital photography, you're going to want to see your images, you know, sold or transacted somewhere and have somebody actually use them for a campaign. And today, contrary to belief, there are a lot of sites where you can actually do that. And these sites are typically called microsites. So these are sites that accept submissions from amateur photographers, photogs, and just individuals who are interested in, you know, putting their images out there. These are sites that would qualify as royalty-free type of sites. If you think about the photo industry, you know, professional photographers would sell images in two classes. You know, the rights-managed image, which is more exclusive, so images can only be used for certain campaigns, in certain products, in certain sectors, and royalty-free, where there's more flexibility to do that. An example of a royalty-free site would be Fotolia. And that's a site actually that has, I think, 1 million or 1.2 million images online. And these are all uploaded images from photographers.
So this is when you can go and you can buy a photo and you pay a one-time charge for the photo, right, and then it can be used as many times as you want it.
Exactly. That's the royalty-free concept or the micro-stock, you know, concept. There are still some restrictions to the image usage, but typically the fees are fairly low and you can actually use them for your projects, and they could be for print and web. And in the case of Fotolia, for example, you will see that they have a price for, you know, a web image, so a small download or a medium download or an extra large download, and the prices are quite reasonable.
So a lot of people who are uploading images to Fotolia, are they people who are professional photographers? Are they hobbyists?
It's a mix, actually. There are professional photographers who do that, as well as hobbyists and individuals who are just amateur photographers. They take a lot of photographs and they want to see those photographs actually sold in the market. So it's a mix of people, really.
Now, how do they control the quality of the photos that are being submitted?
That's a fantastic question. Typically, companies like Fotolia, as well as, I'll show you Shutterstock as well, they have photo editors, you know, what the industry calls, you know, the gatekeepers. And what they really do is look at your image collection when you submit it. Say you are an amateur photographer or a hobbyist, you can actually get in touch with them and say, I would like to submit images. They'll give you a submission procedure, and then you just send it out. The same way if you were a designer, you would show your portfolio to a company to get, you know, to get them to understand what you do. You do the exact same thing for these photographs. You submit them, an editor would look at them and basically accept a number of them in the image collection. And once that happens, you know, your images go online and they can be searched and bought and forwarded to other companies to look at.
Now, is this something where all of your images go into a database of other images, or do you have almost like an online storefront where you have a portfolio of your images, or is it both?
You can actually, it depends on the type of company that you work with. If I take an example of, you know, iStock Photo, and that's a Canadian company, you could have two things. You could have a portfolio that's your own where you submit all your images, and if somebody did a search on a particular image, say they want a photograph of downtown Toronto, they can type downtown Toronto as keywords and find all the images. If they find an image they like, your name if it's your photograph, your name is going to appear underneath that, and you can actually go and select that name and see all the images associated with that photographer. So in a way, it acts that way. But in reality, it's not a store. So if I go to the site and buy an image that belongs to you, you don't get directly paid from me. You would get directly paid from iStock photo. So basically, it's a split of revenues. You know, I do all my purchasing on the website, and you get a check in the mail every month that, you know, shows all the images that have been sold and a percentage of the fee for you.
Now, what type of images should people submit? Because I know, as I mentioned, Sean is always snapping photos around here. I doubt that they would get bought necessarily on any of these photo sites. So what types of photos really work well on some of these sites?
Well, it really depends on the market, and it really depends on the segment. But typically, what I've done is I collected a couple of examples here. If we go to, you know, iStock Photo, you will be able to actually look at the most popular download that happened the last week, last month, or last quarter. And that's actually a really, really good snapshot of what's being downloaded and used for projects and products all across the world, because this is an international site, obviously. That gives you an idea of the type of images people are buying or the type of images people are downloading for their projects.
Can we look at some of them just to get I'm just curious about what type of photos people are.
There is something that's actually really interesting, and I know for a fact this image here, which is called Image at Home in the Yard. This is a picture from an amateur photographer, a woman who actually lives in the US, and she sells her images for, you know, several dollars per image on microstock website. And she was interviewed by Photo District News, which is the industry magazine for professional photographers as well as amateur photographers. And she basically mentions in that article that this is the #1 selling image for her in the past 3 months. And if you look at the downloads, it's actually ranked number 15. But it's pretty amazing. It's a wholesome photograph of a family, you know, on their front porch. And this is a stage photograph. She has a number of other ones that are not that way. I'll show you an example of images that today have been uploaded on Fotolia. What's really fantastic about this collage is it shows you the last 300 images accepted by the editors at Fotolia. And if you roll over any of the images, you'll be able to see how they actually look like, and that gives you a pretty good idea of the type of images that you can submit.
So do you know of anyone who maybe is doing this for a full-time job where they've really depended on a lot of these sites and they're submitting photos and really making decent money off of it?
Yes, actually. The average amount of money that you're going to make could range anywhere from a few $100s to several $1,000s per month. And this is, you know, monthly compensation. It's not really a compensation. It's basically a percentage of the sale. Now, each stock photography website has its own way of compensating you. Some of them you would get, you know, 20% of the sale, some of them 40%, some of them 50%, some of them as high as 60%. So it really depends on the type of model that you are prepared to follow. But on the microsites, we have to be quite honest and admit that, you know, you are not going to be making, you know, exactly a Bill Gates salary selling, you know, stock photography to microsites, but you could make a decent living doing that.
That's good. Sean's not going to quit his job just yet then.
No, absolutely not.
Stuff. All right, thank you so much, Layla.
You're welcome.
Layla Boujnan is with eDay Inc., a leader in visual search solutions for digital imaging. You can read more about her company at edayinc.com. And for a list of the tips Layla recommended today, read over our show notes at callforhelptv.com. And now it's time for our next tech quiz. Today we're asking, IEEE 1394 refers to which computer interface standard? Is it FireWire, USB, Bluetooth, or infrared? I'm not going to tell you the answer right now, but we'll be back in a few minutes with the answer.
With a select terrain dial that adjusts the Jeep Grand Cherokee's performance for specific weather and road conditions, even heavy snowstorms won't keep you from getting to work. Our apologies. The most awarded SUV ever. Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Switch to Swiffer WetJet, and you'll dump your old mop. But don't worry, he'll find someone else. Swiffer Wet Jet starts with a clean pad every time, and its antibacterial floor cleaner kills bacteria mops can spread around. Swiffer gives cleaning a whole new meaning. And try new Swiffer Wet Jet Extra Power Pads with the scrubbing power of Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Cloudy glasses. You didn't have to come over.
Gals, hi. Hi, Cascade Kitchen Counselor. Look, over time, the next leading gel can leave cloudy, hard water deposits. But Cascade All-in-One packs help leave glasses sparkling. There's only one Cascade.
I don't know. I feel like the Earth is our future. Our children's future.
We are so the same. For real.
Wow.
More sellers, more buyers. Download the app or visit autotrader.ca.
Just imagine, a delicious sandwich from Subway restaurants meets one of our heartwarming soups, and together they're available for just $5. They're inseparable. Right now, fall in love with one of our hearty soups paired with a delicious 6-inch sandwich from the classic menu. Together for just $5. At just $5, it's a match made in heaven. Subway, think fresh, eat fresh.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Mac tip of the day. Here's how you download the Mac Mirror widget so that if you have an eyesight camera, you can have also a mirror on your computer to check yourself out. I guess that's what it's for. I'm not really sure. But it's kind of cool, I guess. Anyhow, we'll link to it on callforhelptv.com. And now we have another caller. We have Kelly on iChat from Estevan, Saskatchewan.
How come I do that and I don't look nearly as good? I don't understand. The mirror is wrong. It's wrong. Thank you, Amber. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
How are you today?
Not too bad. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to the show. He snuck up on me. He's on a Mac, I can tell. You know how I could tell? I could see me, the little inset of me right there. That's an iChat right there. What can we do for you, Kelly?
I am wondering how to bind a automator workflow to a keystroke.
Well, I'd like to bind an automator workflow to a keystroke myself. Actually, there's about 8,000 ways to do this. Let's talk. Now I know you're on a Mac when you're talking about Automator. Automator is really kind of a wonderful but little known, little used feature that came out with OS 10. I think it was OS 10 10.4, I think, but I'm not sure. No, it wasn't Tiger. It was before Tiger. Automator? Automator, yeah. It was 10.4? All right. So it came out with Tiger. And it's really wonderful. Now, Apple Macs have always had a very scriptable interface with Apple scripts, but Automator makes it even simpler. Let me just pull up Automator right here. And if you switch to the Mac, you can see. I'm going to run it now. I'm going to answer your question in a second, Kelly. But just to fill people in, let's make an Automator action. So the idea is all of these applications in this column here can be automated. And also, well, you know, here's something everybody with a Mac has: an address book. If I click on address book, these are some Automator actions that are available. People can write new actions and you can download them and so forth. But let's make a simple address book action. I'm going to drag this over. This becomes my script over here on the right-hand side. So I've dragged find groups in address book. I have a group called Twits. I have to send an email once a week to the Twits to say, hey, we're going to do a show. And then now what you do is when you drag actions, you notice this turn into an arrow. Now there's a flow. The results of this are going to flow into this, right? Actually, I don't want to really use that. I'm going to flow it into group mailer, and it's going to automatically flow into here, and then it's going to send a mail message, and I'm going to go on. There'll be more and more. But so we've created an action. Now we can do a few things. I can run that action right away. There's a run button right above here. Or I can save that action in a variety of ways. Now, if you save it as an application, using Save As, you just save it as an application, then it'll be an application you can put in your application folder. Now I'll show you a way to get that to run automatically. You can also, if you want, save it as a plugin. And that means it can be a Finder plugin, which means it'll show up when you right-click. You probably know all of this, I'm sure. Yeah. But I want to just show you, Kelly, it depends, the answer to your question depends on what you've done with it. You can also make it a script menu item, which means it'll be, in effect, an Apple script that'll show up in the Apple script menu. You can have have it be an iCal alarm and a folder action as well. If you made it a folder action, for instance, and attached it to a folder, then anytime you moved anything into that folder, the action would be run, so forth. But let's say I want this action to be run, as you say, automatically by a keystroke. I'm going to save it as an application. I'll put it on here, and I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to say email twits, and I'm going to save it. So now I'm done with Automator. I can close it. And this application, which doesn't really do anything, but it could, is sitting right here on my desktop. Now, how do I make that run automatically? Well, you can, of course, assign to an application, you can assign a keystroke, and that's fairly simple to do using the System Preference pane. And we're going to go to the Keyboard and Mouse Preference pane. And you'll see under Keyboard Shortcuts, I can add a new keyboard shortcut. And I can choose an application here under the applications, and I'll have to browse to the application and so forth, but I can choose any application I want, and I can say, okay, that application has the keystroke of Command, Shift E for email twits. And then whenever I press it, it will automatically have that command. I guess I should do it. Let's go through the process.
I thought I had tried that. And
it wasn't working for you. I'm going to show you. I never use this. I'll be honest with you, because I have a better way. But I'm showing you because this is what is built into. So email twits, add. You have to make sure you save it as a runnable application, actually, when this says this wants a menu command, so it may be that you can't do it that way, actually. Interesting. I always assumed you could. Let me show you. It may be that you have to have a menu item. I like this way anyway. Have you ever heard of Quicksilver?
Yeah, I didn't really get too much into it. I saw you.
Yeah, I love Quicksilver. Quicksilver, in fact, I just used it to run Automator. Instead of going through the folders and stuff, I just pressed Control space. That ran Quicksilver. I typed the first few letters and it pulled up Automator. Well, Quicksilver, which can be used this way as a keystroke launcher, can also assign any application any keystroke. So if I go into Quicksilver's preferences, you'll see that we can actually assign a keystroke. And I like to use it to assign function keys to that, actually. They're called triggers. So we're going to go and we're going to make a custom trigger. I'm going to say add a hotkey, and we're going to say the application will be email twits. It may not know about it yet because we don't actually, probably hasn't had time to search for it yet. But let's say it's this. And then I can assign a trigger action by double clicking here. I can assign any hotkey to it, including the function keys. So I can make, you got to be careful with the function keys because some of them are used. But let's say F14 is on your keyboard and it's not used as it's not on mine. Every time I press F14, that's going to run the application. Quicksilver is free from quicksilver.blacktree.net. Highly recommended, Kelly, for things like this. If you're one of those people that wants applications to be run on keystrokes, that's just one of many things it does. I think the custom triggers capability of Quicksilver really is probably the best way to do what you want to do. I still think you can do it if I have to play with it. You might have to play with the Automator or make it, I don't know what you'd have to do to make it work. But Quicksilver is a much easier way to do it. Highly useful.
Okay.
Yeah, give that a try. To me, this is the application every Macintosh user should have. Quicksilver.blacktree.com. And because it's free, I can't see any reason not to have it, frankly. I've never had any compatibility issues with it. And once you get used to in fact, I don't use Spotlight anymore. I assign it to command space. Once you start getting used to using command space, boy, that's it. You never dig through your hard drive anymore. You could type command space a name, an application, a document, a song. You can launch iTunes. I mean, it's just wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, Kelly?
I will give that a go.
Give it a go. I think you're going to find it's the easiest way. And of course, there are a lot of commercial programs like QuickKeys that'll do this too. But Quicksilver is free. Quicksilver.blacktree.com.
Okay,
Thanks, Kelly.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And about two things, really. If you're a Mac user, I think that Mac users don't use much. In fact, maybe we'll start doing some tips on these. Quicksilver is one. And Automator comes with every copy of OS 10, and it's wonderful. I mean, just really powerful. Coming up, want to watch video on the run? Amber's got a new cell phone. She says it's just great. for watching video. She says, I don't even use my iPod with video anymore. We've got a couple of little non-iPod gadgets to get your video fix for you in a flash with Amber McCarthy right after this. Stay
Hey, Coco.
Boss?
You like pleasing customers. How about a promotion?
Yeah, awesome.
Here's the deal. Unlimited talk Canada-wide, unlimited messaging, and 1 gig of data for $60 a month.
Our customers will love it, but what about my promotion?
In your dreams.
Oh, I smell coffee. Coffee.
As always, Fido is giving your budget a break with unlimited talk Canada-wide. Unlimited messaging, 1 gig of data. Call, display, and voicemail for $60 a month. And that includes...
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
Don't lose girls to dandruff. Use Axe Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. Lose the flakes. Get to the girls.
It's not a real disc. Go ahead, yank the disc. Come on, yank it. It's... Ow!
Sorry.
Sewn right on there. Fools everybody. This actually was a good thing when people still had floppies, but now everybody knows it's just sewn. You see the ads, you see the TV on your cell phone, the video on your MP3 player. You want such a thing, but really, are you ever going to watch TV shows and videos on a tiny little screen? Amber says yes. And it doesn't have to be an iPod. She's got a couple of gadgets that will keep you glued to the screen, not literally, of course. And they are tiny.
Yes, they're quite small. So first, let's look at the cell phone that I just got, which I really like.
You really like this?
I really do like it, and I'm not a big cell phone person, so
Although
I'm not one of those.
you seem to have a new one every show.
I know, I have had a few cell phones.
This is like the Razr kind of, but it's not. It's from Samsung.
Yeah, it's Samsung. It's the A900, and it allows you to watch TV on your phone, and so it has a bunch of channels.
Should we watch some TV?
Yeah, we can watch some stuff. There's some trailers that are loaded up there.
Movie trailers.
Yeah, and the reason that I wanted to show this off is because I've tested out some different phones that have video on them or television on them, and the quality is really, really poor, where I find this is actually fairly decent in terms of...
Now that's going to be network specific too, though,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
You are downloading this off, in fact, you saw that little thing, you're downloading this off the network.
Yeah, so they give you a bunch of channels, and they have updated newscasts, and you can watch little clips from some of your favorite shows. So you can see this is pretty good compared to some of the other phones that have been out there that have video on them. I'm not sure what movie this is, but I just loaded it up before we started. Let's see. Domino. So this is, you know, if you look at the quality, it's pretty decent. It's really easy to use. What I like the most about this phone is one of my big issues with phones is the usability on them, and the interface on this is fantastic. In fact, maybe, I know it's fun to keep watching the video, but maybe for a second we can go back. Sorry, Leo.
What do you want to do now?
Click on End, and then what I want you to do is go to the menu system. Actually go...
Why don't you do that?
Yeah,
I'll just hold it.
Okay,
I'll hold
let's
it,
go there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to exit the media player. The reason I want to show this is just because the menu is so nice. So here we have music. This is the media player. That's where we can watch all the videos.
Yeah. And you can, of course, press numbers, too, to access these.
Exactly. So we have all the settings there. Also with this phone, although this isn't specific to video, isn't specific to TV, is that you can shoot video with it. And it has this handy little button on the side of the phone. So you know when you want to switch to the mode where you go to your camera?
Yeah.
Well, you can just click this.
Press that button.
Yeah, and it will automatically switch to camera mode so that you can also even take pictures.
We might have to get out of that mode.
Let's go there. Two people using the cell phone doesn't work as nicely as we would have thought, Leo, does it? Okay, hold on a second. There we go.
There you go.
And so that you can shoot little videos with your phone, which is kind of fun. And then also, Leo, you can shoot video of yourself. Now, see this little thing here? That's actually the lens. So now we're looking at the prompter.
Oh, that's neat. Oh, you can flip it around.
We can flip it around.
Oh, that's cool.
So then we want to see you. There you go. So what's neat about this?
Why are these phones? The picture image quality is not great.
That's not great. It's doing.
I think it's distorting my face.
It's distorting your face. I've never seen that before, Leo. Sorry about that.
I think it's just I think because the pixels are wide.
Yeah, it's expanding your face in a horizontal manner I've never seen before. So anyhow, it's kind of fun. What I've seen recently, actually, I'm going to take the phone away from you. Sorry about that. But what I've seen recently is some people on YouTube who are shooting videos with their cell phones.
It's amazing.
Now, the reason that I mentioned that this is kind of cool is you can imagine.
Are you doing that?
I I did actually walk through the park the other day and shoot a video of myself, just because it was kind of fun.
Now, my phone is limited to 10 seconds. Can you do longer videos?
I've done a little bit longer, maybe 30 seconds
Okay.
will be okay. So, and it's just a really ease of use with this phone, and being able, the video quality is good, and it's fun. It's just really simple to take videos, and then you can also email them to yourself or do things with them. It takes great photos, 1.3 megapixels. So
cool.
I really, really like it.
That's the Samsung what?
A900.
A900.
Yeah, and then as far as price with that, with a plan, it's about $250. Our makeup woman, Erin, just bought one, and she also really likes it as well. Now, you're probably going to like this because it's quite tiny.
This is really small.
Yeah,
I could accidentally sit on this and I never find it again.
This is the Creative Zen V Plus, and it's obviously a device from Creative. Okay. Now, if
the flicker you're seeing is because it's on TV. It wouldn't. It's not
doesn't. It's not defective. No.
Should I press play?
Yeah, you can press play on the top right-hand side. So, what this is I think this is the
Colbert Report.
And so you can load videos up onto this. It's kind of like the iPod with video, but as you can see, it's a lot smaller, and it's flash memory.
Wow.
Yes, so it's 2 gigs of memory, which is kind of cool, so you can fit a decent amount of videos. And one thing Sean did to impress me, because I sometimes don't get that impressed with gadgets, is he did this, Leo, actually, if you don't mind me just taking it from you. He did one of these.
Ah!
So he just dropped it. Yeah. He did that. So he literally threw it across the room to show me
Can I have that, Basil?
Yeah, how sturdy it is. Now, the video in this, I know it's still playing, so it's really, really tiny, but it's fairly easy to use. And if you want something smaller, I find the iPod video, it's too big.
You think it's too big, though? I mean, look how small the screen is. Don't you go blind looking at that?
Okay, this is my theory on this whole little player, is that it's fairly inexpensive. It's only $149, which is not too bad. But let's say you're probably not going to watch that much video on it, Leo, but you can use it for an MP3 player.
Right.
You can also use it as an audio recorder. It also has an FM radio on it, so you can listen to the radio. You can show off your images, and you can watch a video on it.
Wow.
So if you think about being able to do all those things for 2 gigs of memory,
and how much is it?
$150.
See, that would be a good gift, I think, for a kid.
It is a great gift for a kid.
It doesn't have speakers, so obviously if you're going to watch video, you need headphones.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of stuff you watch, like the Colbert Report, the audio is the most important thing. The video is just kind of same thing for this show, probably. The video just kind of gives you something to look at, and occasionally you might want to look at a picture of the gadget or whatever, and you could see that. That's so tiny. I mean, look at that. It's smaller than a floppy.
I mean, you could use this if you were out walking and exercising. And so video, it's not primarily a video device. You can't steal it, though. It's really something that you might want to use as an all-in-one device. Really, and the one thing I want to mention is that it's Windows only, so it comes with software where you have to convert some of the videos. Right. And so if you're a Mac user, unfortunately, it won't work for you.
So, and it's really robust. Watch.
It's really nice and tiny and light. And I think it's a pretty good deal to be able to do all those things in one, where I do find the iPod with video a little bit clunky, a little bit expensive as well.
How's the user interface? Pretty easy to use?
It's so easy. It's
Apple
so
just
slick.
had to settle with the Creative over the iPod user interface. They claim, the Creative claimed copyright or trademark infringement. No, patent infringement. Well, I'll be darned. Look at that.
Yeah, you get used to it. At first you think it's not so good, and then you start playing around with it, and you realize that a small little player like that is probably not a bad thing to have around.
Look,
just because you can do everything.
On Call for Help.
What?
I won't play that one.
Anyway, between these 2 devices, if you're going to have TV or video on the go, I think they're good options.
And you like the phone?
I love the phone, and again, I'm not really a phone person, but I really, really like it.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Samsung A400?
A900.
A900, or the Creative V Plus Zen. And if you want more information, including links and so forth, visit our website, callforhelptv.com. That's where Amber's got our show notes. More of your calls coming up when we return right after this. Stay right here. Wow, that is really tiny.
It's tiny, huh?
Screen.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, what men want.
Nobody else has a class-exclusive 8-speed transmission. Nobody else gets 36 miles per gallon. And nobody else rises to the challenge with a class-exclusive, height-adjustable air suspension. 3 reasons why the all-new Ram 1500 is the 2013 North American Truck of the Year. Guts, glory.
Lily. She pretty much lives in her favorite princess dress. And she's not exactly tidy. Even if she gets a stain, she'll wear it for a week straight. So I use Tide to get out those week-old stains and Downy to get it fresh and soft. And since I'm the one who has to do the laundry, I do what any expert dad would do. I let her play sheriff. I got 20 minutes to life.
You are free to go.
Tide and Downy, great on their own, even better together.
Don't lose girls to dandruff. Use Axe anti-dandruff shampoo. Lose the flakes. Get to the girls.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Writely tip of the day. Here's how you can share a document in Writely. All you have to do is open up the document that you want to share, go to Collaborate at the top left-hand side, and then you can invite others to edit and work on the same document. And now we have another caller. We have Jason on the line from Waterford, Ontario.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Leo.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm very well. What can I do for you?
Oh, okay. I have Windows XP on my computer, of course. I have an AMD 2400.
Okay.
And I have a couple of programs on it. Not a whole lot. Mostly music, of course, for files and some text files. But lately, my computer's been lagging quite a bit. Even bringing up programs or even dialing out or anything such as that.
When you say lagging,
as in taking a long time.
Taking a long time. Just to open something,
Yeah.
it takes a while.
Exactly.
And when did this start?
Well, I'd have to say it started a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Lately, I've just been going with it, but it's
Little Jason didn't put peanut butter in it, did he?
pretty much.
Feels like it, huh? I'm thinking there's a number of things that can happen. The reason I asked you what happened, what you did before this, is sometimes installing something could slow it down. There was a notorious problem with a Windows hotfix, for instance. If you were using Symantec's antivirus, the Norton antivirus, and you applied this hotfix, all of a sudden everything got very slow. And it was nothing wrong with the hotfix, nothing wrong with Norton, really. It was just there was an interaction. Now, so it could be something like...
Sorry about that.
That's okay. How old is he?
I got 3 kids, actually.
Oh.
The youngest is just turned 2.
He's like that call tone that was very popular for a while.
Exactly. Not really words, but sounds.
You make a call tone out of him, he could be rich. So it could be that. The thing that scares me when I hear people with Windows say all of a sudden the machine got really slow is it also could be spyware or a virus. And that's what you really want to be careful about. It could mean that something else is using your computer. What? Well, if it's a spyware or a virus, they could, a virus, for instance, a guy could be using your computer to forward spam. And all of a sudden, everything would get very slow. I guess the best thing to do would be, is it always slow?
Well, after a while, it just got everything slow. When I first started noticing, it was only a few things, and then it sort of just overran everything.
And that could also be a hard drive, a sign of a hard drive problem. So I need more information, I guess is what I'm saying. Do you hear the hard drive laboring? Do you hear it going?
I hear it running, trying to find the information.
Yeah. And has that noise changed lately? Is it laboring more than it used to?
With the lag, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably okay. That's the key. That was the little bit of information I needed that answers this question. So it could be a lot of things, but because of you hearing the hard drive working, it's almost undoubtedly that the hard drive is having trouble reading those things. So the lag is the hard drive having to read that data 3 or 4 times before it can actually get it in there and say, oh, now I understand. Now that can be caused by a number of things. Typically a failing hard drive, but it could be a hard drive that the formatting has kind of gone bad, or there's weak, the information is being written weakly, things like that. One good program for this is not free. In fact, it costs more than many hard drives. Is SpinRite. We've had Steve Gibson on all the time on this show. I'm a big fan of his.
I'm usually always watching when he's on there.
Spinrite.info, SPINRITE, but it's like $80, and new hard drive's like $70. So, I use it, and for people who work with hard drives a lot, for sure, this would tell you what's wrong. What you would do is you would run it, and it would run overnight, and it would check the whole drive, look for bad sectors, and underneath the data, without changing the data, it would reformat the drive, and often that can fix this kind of thing. So that would be one possibility. Another, really, I mean, if you don't want to spend any money, what I would suggest is make a backup.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing to do would be just really back everything up, or get an image of the drive, reformat the drive, you know, give it a fresh format. Often that'll fix the problem, put everything back on. But if it's still really laboring and slow, and you can actually hear it trying to read this stuff over and over, then it could just be that it's starting to die, and it might be time for a new hard drive. How old is the hard drive?
Actually, this hard drive is maybe going on 2 years.
Problem is, you know, the way they do the mean time between failure, the way they give you that lifetime statistic is they take a bunch of drives and they run them till a few die, and then they average that over all the drives. Any drive can die at any time. That's really the bottom line. So would you agree, Sean, from everything he's told us, sounds like a failing hard drive.
It could well be, yes.
Yeah, and it's a really hard one to fix. Best bet would be either buy SpinRite or ghost it, reformat, and hope that restoring it fixes it.
I was thinking about just reformatting it and putting everything on.
Yeah.
But there was one program that I do use.
Yeah, that you don't have a copy of.
Like, I had suspicion that it might be the problem also.
What program is that?
It's AutoPatcher.
And what does AutoPatcher do?
What AutoPatcher is, it's a program where you can get updates for it where it updates your Windows. It has all the Windows updates.
I'll tell you, I don't think so, but I would turn it off and see. I'm not familiar with it. It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Like
that's
it's
the
from
one
NeoWin.
thing that I'm worried about is that it may not be the hard drive. It may be a program that I'm
Yeah,
using.
it could be.
And I'm worried that
be.
I might install that back on and it starts lagging again.
As I start at the beginning of the question, I started to say there's about 8,000 things it could be.
Yeah.
But I think when you say that you hear the thing laboring, that's usually a sign of a bad hard drive. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but and it could be, you know, if you're thinking it's an individual program, best thing, uninstall it, see if it fixes it. Sean?
Yeah, the only other thing I would add to that is if the hard drive is laboring an awful lot, if you're running at or near the amount of memory in your system, it could be swapping out on a regular basis if you've got enough programs.
So yeah, if you have less than 512 megs of RAM, that could also impact it.
Yeah, if it's even less, if you just added a few programs to that will push it over that.
Yeah, maybe
edge,
having AutoPatcher running all the time in the background was just enough to put it over, and it's swapping all the time. That's the problem. Is there's so many things that can cause a computer to get slow, and it's hard to tell from what you described. But I'm holding on to that clue that it was laboring. That to me sounds like a hard drive failure. So things to think about, Jason. Anyway, you know, if reformatting it doesn't fix it, get a new hard drive. Have you got something important that you want to tell your entire company? Maybe you should think about publishing a slick and professional-looking email newsletter. Amber got her start in the tech biz doing that. She's going to talk about an email newsletter with an expert. Before we do that, why don't we test your brains with our next tech trivia question of the day? Last chance to answer this one. IEEE 1394 refers to which computer interface? Firewire, USB, Bluetooth, or infrared? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it. Phone Call for Help continues.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, what men want.
Call Grapevine Personals now and meet your match. Record your free voice ad and instantly start chatting with great local singles. Try Grapevine for free now. It's the easy, confidential way to get to know someone. Call now.
Long distance charges may apply. 18+ First Media.
Jolly Rancher Bold Hard Candies. And crunchy outside, chewy inside, crunch and chews. Untamed fruit flavor. Jolly Rancher.
Nobody else has a class-exclusive 8-speed transmission. Nobody else gets 36 miles per gallon. And nobody else rises to the challenge with a class-exclusive, height-adjustable air suspension. 3 reasons why the all-new Ram 1500 is the 2013 North American Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram.
Rated T for teen.
Download now and play for free at worldoftanks.ca.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, what men want.
Welcome back. Today's next tech quiz is IEEE 1394 refers to which computer interface standard? Is it FireWire, USB, Bluetooth, infrared? The answer is FireWire. These days, companies are starting to use newsletters for more than just boring production information. They're being created to announce events, highlight interesting bits of news, and in some cases, to share a laugh. Bill Sweetman is here today to tell us how we can get started authoring a company mailout. Hey, Bill, how are you doing?
Great. Great to be back.
Great. That's how I got started in the web business. I did an email newsletter using SparkList, if you're familiar with that. That's been around for a while. I'm not sure if they're still around, but probably. And you're going to show us another tool today for people to use if they want to start sending out an email newsletter.
That's right. I mean, there's a number of tools out there. There's NFlyer and Constant Contact. And the one I'm going to take people and show you today is Campaigner. It's campaigner.com. It's actually started by a Canadian company, which is kind of cool.
Cool. And it's pretty easy to use? Yeah,
so why don't we look at the main sort of account section, and we'll just sort of take you through how you might go about sort of prepping your newsletter.
Great. And just really show people how easy it is to do, because it is quite simple.
That's right, and it's a typical kind of model. You've got some kind of dashboard. You log in with your username and password. So here, because I love the movie The Big Lebowski.
Who doesn't?
We're going to log in and sort of go to that particular newsletter. So it's a Lebowski newsletter, and we're going to edit it today. So you might have set this up a template. So the first thing you do is actually name the campaign. What's the name of your newsletter? You pick your contact database. Of course, these are people that have asked to be sent your newsletter.
And is this something that's integrated into Campaigner? Because I remember when I was using SparkList, it was pretty easy. All you did was you added a script onto your website, and then people could go there, and then it was those people's email addresses were automatically added into a database.
That's
in the
right.
engine.
So Campaigner gives you a way to add a form to your website, and you can also import an opt-in list of your own from your own database as well. So you've got the two options.
Okay.
So once you've picked your database, now we get into the fun part, which is actually editing your newsletter. So you can edit the subject, and here we get into the layout. So you can actually pick different templates that Campaigner provides. You can change the colors. I just mocked this up for the show, so it's not the prettiest newsletter ever.
It's okay, Bill. We'll forgive you.
And assuming you've written the copy, you can go in and edit the text. So it's all kind of point and click. It's pretty straightforward.
So you don't need to know any HTML at all to actually create the newsletter.
That's what's really great about it. You don't need to know any HTML. If you want to add links, there's capabilities to do that without any programming.
And so it's quite easy just to get in there, set it up, choose from the layouts. Are there a bunch of different layouts?
There's about 15 different layouts, and then within those layouts, you can go and change the colors. If you want a pink and purple newsletter, hey, you can go for that.
You have the option.
Then you preview it.
Okay.
And you can actually, what's kind of cool is you can preview it both in HTML and also plain text.
That was actually going to be my next question, because I remember when I was sending out a newsletter with this big issue where there's a lot of people who can't read HTML email newsletters. They can only read plain text. Do you know if it's something that people have the option for as well, to sign up for either when they're actually going to?
Yes, the sign-up form allows you to do that, and Campaigner will automatically display the appropriate format for the people receiving it. So once you've got it all looking beautiful in purple and pink or whatever, you can then add the unsubscribe option.
Okay.
And if you want to track any of the links in the newsletter, you can do that.
And one thing we want to mention is that you always want to give people an easy way to unsubscribe to the email newsletter, because people are really bombarded these days with email and information, and there is a chance they maybe don't want to read it.
Yeah, and good tools like Campaigner give your subscribers a quick means to unsubscribe. There's a reply message if you want, and then you test the campaign, and you can send a test, which is great. That's a good press practice.
And that will probably, chances are, that will come back to you.
That's right.
And then you'll be able to see if it looks okay, and you could get multiple. Yep. You can see. I used to do this. So.
Yeah, you can keep doing it until you get it right. And then once you're happy with it, the cool thing here is you can schedule it. So you don't have to publish it right now. You can schedule it to go out, days or weeks or months ahead of time.
And I imagine they have stats as well, so you can tell how many people have subscribed and all that type of information.
Right. So once you've sent out the newsletter, you can log in and you can figure out how many people clicked. You can even find out who clicked on some of the links.
That's always good to know. And how much is it?
It starts with I think $10 to $15 a month for, or you can do a pay what you can kind of.
It's usually based on the number of subscribers.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Bill. Bill Sweetman is the Vice President President of Internet Strategy at McLaren McCann Direct and Interactive. You can read more about Bill's best practices advice from his blog at sweetmantra.com. To get links and more info about email newsletters, and you can sign up for our newsletter, visit callforhelptv.com. We'll be right back in a minute to wrap up the show, so don't go away.
KD, can I have some?
What do you say?
Please?
What do you say?
Please, Mr. Universe, ruler of everything cool, magnet for all hot chicks. Including my mom, even though she's not hot to me, but most guys have admitted that they do find her attractive in a way that I'll never understand, but must overcome if I ever want a bowl of your cheesy KD.
Forgot to raise your right hand.
This year, one truck drives alone. It's the one with best-in-class fuel economy of 36 miles per gallon. The one with a class-exclusive 8-speed transmission. The one changing the truck landscape. The all-new 2013 Ram 1500. The only one that can call itself 2013 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram.
A Febreze experiment. To prove Febreze can keep this car fresh, we loaded it with fast food, sweaty hockey gear, and a smelly dog cage, and parked it at a mall in Texas for 2 days. Then put a Febreze car vent clip on the dash and let in real people.
It smells good. Like laundry fresh out of like the dryer.
Yeah.
A man fresh out of the shower.
Nailed it.
Ooh, yeah.
Proof Febreze car vent clips keep your car fresh. Another way Febreze helps you breathe happy.
Hey, Coco.
Boss?
You like pleasing customers. How about a promotion?
Yeah, awesome.
Here's the deal. Unlimited talk Canada-wide, unlimited messaging, and 1 gig of data for $60 a month.
Our customers will love it, but what about my promotion?
In your dreams.
Oh, I smell coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee.
As always, Fido is giving your budget a break with unlimited talk Canada-wide. Unlimited messaging, 1 gig of data, call, display, and voicemail for $60 a month. And that includes the Fido Advantage.
I know a lot of people who do newsletters, what you were talking about in the last segment, but who've decided to kind of abandon it. Even Steve Gibson says, I'm going to send one more out and be banned as a spammer. I'm going to do it with an email address, even though he's not a spammer, but as soon as you start sending mass mailings, people assume that you're spamming. And that's a real problem for somebody who wants to do a mailing list, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a problem. One thing I used to recommend to people all the time is that if you want to do a newsletter, you could have the option for people to sign up for it, but you can also post it on your website.
That's the
It's
best
kind
way
of,
to do it.
you know, almost like a blog or an
Yeah.
alert or something like that. So it is there as well.
And now with RSS feeds, you don't have to push emails out anymore. You could just say, if you want to be updated. I used to have an email, and I stopped doing my email newsletter. First of all, I didn't want to be labeled a spammer. A lot of people weren't getting it because a lot of times it ends up in the spam barrel. But also now with RSS, you just say, look, you want an update? Subscribe to my blog, and every time something new comes in the blog, you can see it in your RSS reader.
Yeah, so I think it's for people who maybe aren't at that stage yet.
Maybe
in my
that's
mind,
it.
it's for people who are just new to email, and a newsletter seems like a nice,
Yeah.
safe environment.
That makes sense. Hey, if you want to be on this show, speaking of safe environments, we promise not to yell. All you got to do is go to the website, callforhelptv.com, click the link on the left. As Amber mentioned, you can subscribe to our newsletter. We do one, absolutely, with some fun stuff in there. Remember, if you've got a problem with your personal confuser,
Don't whine.
don't moan.
Don't yell.
Just call for help. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Windows Vista brings a ton of new digital right management copy protection features. Some good, most bad. We'll give you the whole scoop today on The Lab with Leo.
I got a pizza here for a Sean Carruthers. Is there a Sean Carruthers in the house? Sean Carruthers? Oh, here's your pizza, sir. I'm sorry, I got a little hungry and I had to eat one of the slices. I hope you don't mind. Sean missed lunch.
This was like 31 minutes.
You get it free. It's absolutely free, Sean. Enjoy.
Poor guy didn't get lunch.
Where's my pizza?
You want a pizza? I'll be right back. We'll get you a pizza. We got plenty of pizza.
I'll trade you for a clipboard.
All right, how about that? Kate is here, Kate Abraham, to tell it.
No green peppers.
Oh, you don't like green peppers?
Ooh,
I'll make a note of that for the future. Kate Abraham is getting our calls together while we take a look at who we've got. Steve Gibson's going to be here. You saw him at the beginning. We're going to talk about the copy protection that's built into Vista, and is that going to be a problem for you? Also, I'm really thrilled that Iliad is here. J.D. Frazier does a great online comic strip called User Friendly. We had him on the Screensavers some years ago. He's talking about how you can do your own comic strip, bypass the syndicates, bypass the newspapers, do it all yourself online. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But we do have a call, I believe. So let's get started.
We have the lovely Mike from Kentville, Nova Scotia.
Is he really lovely?
He's lovely.
Oh, he's lovely.
He was ready to go.
Mike, you're lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Well, welcome to the lab with Leah. What can I do for you, sir?
Hi, I'm trying to set up a wireless network in my home.
Okay.
And I was using the Windows version of the wireless network setup, and unfortunately, after the first step of putting the information on a USB flash drive, it asked for me to put my USB flash drive into the modem, and unfortunately, my modem does not have a USB flash drive.
Ignore all of that. All of that stuff's supposed to make it easier. What it's doing, all it's doing, there's nothing special it's putting on that USB. It used to be a floppy, by the way. It's just putting the settings on there. But the truth is, the settings are so dog simple that you don't really need them.
Okay.
Okay? So let me walk it through for you. Were you turning on encryption?
I did it. I tried to do it both ways. I had encryption on at the beginning, and then I turned it off so I could try it again. And
Didn't
either
work?
way it worked. Yeah.
Didn't work the first time?
No, because when I did skip that step, and I put it into my my second PC.
Right.
And it didn't install.
Yeah. I think it's better doing it by hand. I mean, you know, manufacturers are doing this. We had a call yesterday about this NetMagic thing, which is software that D-Link distributes to supposedly make it easier. And if your setup is very kind of straightforward and exactly as they expect it to be, yeah, it makes it easier. But deviate 1 millimeter, like let's say you don't have a USB port on your cable modem, none of it works, right? So I think it's a reliance on a safety net that really can get in the way more than you get tangled up in the net instead of saving you. So let's talk about what you would do, okay? The first thing you're going to do, you could do it by hand, is go into the wireless router. You know, you use your browser to do that, right? 190. You generally, by the way, the first time you do this, it's easiest if you're connected physically. Do you have a physical port, Ethernet port you can connect to on the router?
For
a computer.
Yeah, for the first computer, but the other computers are
wireless.
Are wireless.
Yeah, that's fine. All you need is one, because you're going to configure it while it's wired.
Okay.
And then once it's configured, then you unplug all the wires, except the one to the cable modem, obviously, or the DSL modem. But it's just easier to configure because you don't have to have the wireless working. So you connect one computer, it could be a laptop, doesn't even matter which computer, to the router. The router is already connected to the modem, right? All right, and you set up the router, and the router instructions will say something like go to 192.168.1.1 on your browser, and you'll go in there, and there's really not much to do. In fact, Steve Gibson has spent a lot of time, we've talked many times about what you should do to configure a wireless router, and there's 4 things that I consider important to do. You tell me, Steve, if I'm right. First and foremost, you want to change the password. The default password on that router is known to every hacker in the world. So if you use the default password, it makes you very vulnerable. Secondly, you want to turn it off what Steve calls universal plug and play.
Yep.
You want to describe why he's turning that off?
Universal plug and play allows software in your computer to open up ports from the outside of your router to allow unsolicited traffic to come back in. That's not something you want.
It's
and
convenient.
It's not something you need.
It's convenient for Microsoft, because then if you install Microsoft's Messenger, it can automatically open the ports it needs, but any bad guy can do the same thing.
And it does it behind your back.
Doesn't tell you.
Right.
Doesn't say, oh, I mean, the least it could do. In fact, this is really dumb. It should say, hey, I would like to open some ports. Is it okay if I do so? May I do so? But it doesn't even do that, because they get a tech support call, and they don't want to spend the $10 to pay for your tech support call.
And then turn off WAN side administration.
WAN administration. That means that you could enter your router from the outside world. You don't want that either.
Right.
Even though you've put a good secure password on it, it just makes sense to turn that off. And the fourth and final thing, which applies only to wireless routers like yours, is to turn on encryption. Now, you just bought this router?
No, I've had it for quite some time.
Ah, so it means you probably don't have the better encryption, which is WPA, Wireless Protected Access. You probably have WEP.
It's a wireless G router, so it does have that.
It has WPA? Hallelujah, because that's much easier, not just from the point of view of protecting you better, but it's much easier when you get to the client side of the Windows machines.
You might want to update his firmware also.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
If he's got an older router, make sure he's current.
You'll find that, it depends on what router you're using, but you'll find that somewhere in the router setup, often in the advanced tab, update firmware. You'll have to download a bin file from the router's manufacturer, Linksys, or is it a Linksys router?
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll go to linksys.com, you'll download the latest firmware, it's a bin file, and then you can update the firmware. But again, you'll have to have a connected computer to do that. Once you've done all that, you've configured your router. You don't have to tell the, well, is it DSL or a cable modem?
It's a cable modem.
Okay. Almost always, that's all you need to do with a cable company. Sometimes with DSL, you have to give it more information about PPPoE. But with a cable modem, you just set it up DHCP. It will automatically get its information, the configuration settings, the IP address and the DNS servers from the cable company automatically. It just asks, and the cable modem says, yeah, here's your settings. You're done. Now, unplug, and you're going to turn on the Wi-Fi in your various wireless computers. You're going to say, look for an access point. You've probably named your access point. I should say that's a fifth thing you should do, is probably give it a name. And I wouldn't recommend your address. I would recommend kind of a generic name, you know, asteroid.
Because unless you keep your access point from broadcasting that, it will be sending that name out over the whole neighborhood, and anybody can see what you've named.
Frankly, even if you do keep it from broadcasting it, it's visible if somebody knows how to look. It's broadcasting it all the time, no matter what. So it's just better not to announce that, hey, there's a router and a computer in here. Come on in, guys. So just give it some generic name. I call mine after dead rock stars. So I got Hendrix, Morrison, Joplin, like that, you know. But it's something that, you know, whatever you want. It's a chance to be very creative. Call it Leo. And then they'll go to each independent wireless machine. You don't need this special disk or USB key. And you just go to the wireless machine. If it's Windows, you'll just, in the system tray, you'll have a little wireless network thing. It has to have a wireless card. You won't see that. But if you have a wireless card, you'll right-click that and you'll say scan for wireless networks. It'll find all the networks. You'll find yours, you know, Hendrix or Leo or whatever it is. You click on that. It'll say, hey, this is protected. What's the password? You use the password you gave your router, the WPA password, and then you should be on. And you can do that one by one through all your machines. And that's really all you need to do.
The one thing, the one vulnerability in WPA is that the password has to be unguessable, because there are attacks in WPA. If someone is able to capture your traffic, they can do an offline attack. So you want to use a really hard to guess password. I put up that passwords page on GRC specifically to create passwords for people in a secure fashion that no one is ever going to be able to guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you use your dog's name, somebody's going to guess it. Yep. If you use any word in the dictionary, these brute force attack programs will guess it. If you really want to be secure, I don't do this because these are the most obscure passwords ever. Go to grc.com/password and you will get a 64-character, completely random password. Every time you refresh the page, you get a new one, so it's unique.
It's never been offered before. It will never be offered again.
It's completely random. But now you're going to have to cut and paste that because there's no way you're typing that sucker in. But if you want to use these, this is the best way to secure it. I just use, you know, a good combination that I can remember of upper and lowercase and punctuation and stuff, and just nothing that's in the dictionary.
But the longer the better, again, because you could still get to that eventually. Which is not to say that anybody is going to go after someone, but you know, you just don't want to have to worry about it. You don't want to think about it again.
For years I had an open access point, so I've kind of I'm better than I was. Let's put it that way. So now I don't know if we answered your specific problem, but trust me, if you go through these steps just like that, it absolutely will work.
So can you file share and print share after that?
Yeah. Now, if you have security software, that will block it. So you have to make sure if you've got a firewall that you, or something like that, you disable it temporarily until you get everything working.
And if there is third-party Wi-Fi enhancement gunk,
that can get in the way too.
You really ought to like the D-Link Easy Network
Turn
thing.
that stuff
Get
off.
it off or remove it.
Yeah, network
because,
magic.
You know, it doesn't really help anything.
Right.
And the built-in Windows zero configuration stuff really works well.
File sharing and print sharing is going to work, but that can be another level of complexity. We'll address that at a later time, but that's a whole nother matter that sometimes security software can get in the way. Hey, good luck. I hope that helps. Don't use the disk, the key, all that stuff. They're not making it easier. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Vista and the new digital rights management Microsoft has imposed upon all of us. Is it a good thing or a bad? Steve Gibson knows. He'll tell us when the Lab with Leo returns.
Call Grapevine Personals now and meet your match. Record your free voice ad and instantly start chatting with great local singles. Try Grapevine for free now. It's the easy, confidential way to get to know someone. Call now.
Long distance charges may apply. 18 plus First Media.
Jolly Rancher bold hard candies. And crunchy outside, chewy inside, crunch and chews. Untamed fruit flavor. Jolly Rancher.
This year, one truck drives alone. It's the one with best-in-class fuel economy of 36 miles per gallon. The one with a class-exclusive 8-speed transmission. The one changing the truck landscape. The all-new 2013 Ram 1500. The only one that can call itself 2013 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram.
More sellers, more buyers.
Yo, that's it!
Autotrader.ca, the most cars in one place. Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, what men want.
For everything your face has to face it with Puffs facial tissues. Puffs has air-fluffed pillows for 40% more cushiony thickness. Face every day with Puffs softness.
It's magic. It's all magic. Welcome back to the Lab with Leo. Steve Gibson is here from grc.com, our favorite security whiz. Also the author of Spin Right, which is my favorite, especially right now. My life-saving disk recovery and maintenance utility. We're going to talk about something that's actually been a hot topic on the net for the last 6 months, thanks to a New Zealand fellow named Peter Gutmann.
Yes, Peter is a well-known security researcher from years ago who decided to take a look at the new digital rights management technology, the DRM, copy protection, that's all built deeply into Windows Vista. And he produced a paper that just scared a lot of people.
It's very controversial, too.
Well, because he talked about how there are things like tilt bits, where if the system gets any sense that something is wrong, it'll shut down Windows.
Well, and wrong means you're trying to pirate something.
Well,
it thinks you might be trying to crack copy protection. That's what it means by wrong. Not wrong like it's not working properly. Wrong like you're trying to steal something.
Essentially what Microsoft did was, and they're defending it, saying they had no choice but to do this.
Hollywood made us do it.
Yes, they've turned Vista into, whether you want it to be or not, into a locked down, super tight digital content delivery platform.
Even if you have Vista Business, if you don't have a HD DVD player, even then it has all those features?
Yes, the problem is it wasn't something that could be added on. In order to make the system secure enough, they had to completely re-engineer down in the so-called operating system kernel in order to put in protection that was impossible to remove.
All this comes from the fact that Hollywood thinks of every PC as a piracy device.
Yes, Hollywood is not happy about PCs at all.
In general.
Yes.
So they basically put the screws to Microsoft saying, you make sure every PC is locked down so we don't have to worry about this.
And there are DVD player software, Win DVD, Power DVD. They'll already play HD, that is high definition content, on XP. So people are saying, wait a minute, we can watch our HD movies on, with these players. Yeah. Well, Microsoft, decided they wanted to be more in the game. They must be looking at Vista as a platform for the home theater sort of mode, where you have a digital connection to a digital theater display. And so they're monitoring the integrity all the way from the disk, decrypting technology, and then moving it through the system all the way to the screen. And if anything along the way seems a little bit unsure, they'll shut it down. They do things, for example, like deliberately blur the picture to limit the quality of the picture if they can't verify and guarantee that there's no chance that there's decrypted data anywhere between the original source and the screen.
One of the things Gutmann said is that if you don't have the proper permissions to be playing back this premium protected content, as you said, the video will go lower resolution. You won't be able to play audio back through the optical port, perfect digital audio. It'll degrade stuff. And people were concerned that, oh my gosh, does this mean that if I'm, for instance, the example he used, a radiologist looking at x-rays, suddenly that image is degraded because I'm trying to play back an HD DVD? And Microsoft says no.
Right, and I believe Microsoft is right that all Peter was able to do was to produce this report from reading the specifications.
This is the documentation Microsoft released.
Yes, yeah. And Peter was concerned that the entire screen would get blurry, as part of what Vista was trying to do, to say to the movie producers, look, we're just going to do whatever you tell us to do. Right. And that's really the issue, is that in the next generation media, in HD digital content, there can be a set of policies which Vista will follow religiously, which, for example, XP didn't know anything about.
But Microsoft does point out that if you're reading an X-ray and you're trying to watch an HD movie, the X-ray, even if the movie gets degraded because you don't have the proper keys or permissions, the X-ray is not going to be affected.
Because it's by window, not by screen.
So only the premium content channel will be affected.
Right. Now, there has been also concern that this was going to raise the cost of our hardware, because it used to be, for example, that you could get a high-performance digital adapter card, and it would have like all the chips locations filled in, but you could also buy a cheaper version of the same card that would have a bunch of stuff missing, because you didn't have to have a high-end card. Right. Well, that was economical for the card maker, because they were able to put things in only if they needed it and take them out where they weren't necessary. Well, the problem is that would expose those unused traces, would expose the digital content that would allow a pirate to literally hook their own wires to it.
The card could be hacked.
Yeah, exactly. You could hack the card. So now we're going to have a next generation of hack-proof adapters. The adapter cards have their own licenses and certifications. Basically, everything throughout the system now needs to be certified, and if a bug is found in any of these places, the license can be revoked, and the concern was, for example, your card could be shut down remotely by Microsoft.
Well, that's the design of this AACS copy protection that the movie
industry
industry
be able to do it.
And in fact, it might have been prudent of them, because it's already been cracked. The AACS has already been cracked, and some players, in fact, can play back content illegally.
Yeah.
So, but nobody's revoked keys yet.
And
that's never happened yet.
That's what's so dumb about this, is that copy protection has never been uncrackable, yet here's Vista with all this extra stuff now loaded on top of it, and it's already been cracked.
So let's go down the cost to the consumer of this copy protection that Vista is building in. You mentioned that some peripherals may be more expensive. They're harder to design. They have limitations on what they can do. Will it slow the machine down?
If there are bugs in them, bugs in drivers used to not be a big problem.
Right.
Now they're a much bigger problem. So the card manufacturers are going to have to be much more careful about the way the software is designed.
A flaw in the card could look like a piracy attempt.
It will now be a target of attack, where it didn't matter before.
Okay. All right. So cards are more expensive. Does it slow the system down?
There is some overhead because in order to prevent emulation of a card where software would pretend to be an adapter in order to sneak the digital content out, they now, several times a second, they have activity going to the card saying, prove to me that you're real, prove to me that you're real, even when nothing is going on.
Several times a second?
I think it's 300 times a second, actually. It's every 3 milliseconds.
Wow. Is it less reliable? Is Windows Vista less reliable because of this?
These tilt bits, if for example, you plugged in a USB dongle that caused the power to glitch a little bit, that could be seen as a sign of someone hooking new hardware to the system. And our systems have been designed to be as resilient as possible. This removes some resiliency from our systems.
Bottom line then, it sounds like this is bad for consumers. Is there anything we can do about it?
No.
You're stuck with it. If you're going to use Vista, it comes with Vista.
It's part of the package with Vista. Hopefully, I mean, the thing that's annoying is most people don't even need any of this.
I don't plan to watch HD DVDs on my computer. I've got a TV for that.
Exactly. And so it's because Microsoft wants us to move into the living room with their PC platform that they put all this in there, even if you don't need it.
You can read more about this, including Peter Gutman's original paper and Steve's response and Microsoft's rebuttal to Peter Gutman. It's all online on our website, which is thelabwithleo.com. And it's certainly worth reading. I have to say, though, I mean, Vista's been out for a few months now. We haven't seen any huge problems because of this yet.
There are little reports of people having problems with playing movies, but we really don't know what that's about.
Right. It's time to play What the Heck Is It? A close-up picture of something in tech. What the heck? Take a look. Do you know? I don't. Maybe Sean Carruthers can tell us.
Jolly Rancher.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we showed you this close-up picture. What is it? Well, zoom out, and it's a speaker cover. I knew it was a grill of some kind. Who is that character, though? All right, go out long, Sean. Go out long. Here. Whoa! Oh, God, I'm sorry. Oh, are you okay? All right, let's get another caller on the air. I know you're a big fan of rugby, right? No, okay. I think we have a fellow national.
One of my people.
One of your peeps.
This is Ralph. He's actually from Ontario, but originally he's from the UK.
He said he's going to have to get translation from you,
right?
Right?
You need anything, just ask me.
All right, so Ralph, where in the UK are you from?
Liverpool.
Oh, you're going to talk like that then?
Yes.
All right, well, go ahead. I'll see if I can do I'm going to use my best Liverpool ears. What's your question?
I'm trying to sort a problem out with an Excel program.
Okay.
I need to put dates in from, say, the 1st of March, and then it automatically go in on, say, the 2nd or 3rd week of April as a schedule.
Okay.
So I need a formula that will do that, and I can't work one out.
And you want to do it in Excel?
Yeah.
Excel actually has some very good date capabilities, date functions. You're using which version of Excel? 2003 probably, yeah?
2003, yeah.
Office 2003. Do you mind if we put you on hold briefly and call in the wizard?
Yep.
Mr. Excel. I think we can get Bill Jelen on the line. He is our Excel wizard, Ralph, and you'll forgive me, but I think that this is a job for Mr. Excel, because while I think I could do this using the date functions, I think Bill's going to be better at this. Do we have, can we get Bill on the line here? All right, she's calling Bill right now. Let's put Ralph on hold. He was very kind. I didn't understand a word he said, though, so you'll have to explain to me, Kate, what he was saying. Completely. Hey, there's Bill Jelen. Hello, Bill.
How you doing?
All right, did you understand what Ralph said?
Yeah, actually, I had a chance to take a look at Ralph.
Yeah, we've got a good date. We're going to make the date. We're going to go like that. So how do you do that? What I'm gathering is he wants to enter a date and then say somewhere, give me a date that's 8 weeks later or 4 weeks later.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So Ralph's problem is he's created a beautiful looking calendar that he can print out for all the employees that tells them when to go to the store.
Oh, so you saw what he's doing?
Yeah, actually, I by email, I had to take, we took a look at what he was doing.
Okay.
It's a beautiful format, but unfortunately, many people try and create things in a format that's going to look good, which isn't the best way to store it. And so I have a solution for Ralph where basically we're going to take all of his data and just put it in a nice, beautiful spreadsheet, one row per store, per visit, 5 or 6 columns. And then because it's in the spreadsheet, I was able to create some formulas that, just like you say, figures out 4 weeks or 6 weeks ahead. And then at the very end, I made a beautiful looking spreadsheet for Ralph that shows his calendar, but now we can use formulas that query that database, the nice data table.
People often do that. They start with the presentation first. But programmers want to do that too. They want to start with the user interface. And a lot of programming tools are actually designed now, they're called rapid application development, to do that because it's the natural inclination. But you're saying he really should have started with the spreadsheet, worried about presentation last.
Right, because with his presentation, it just, if you can imagine what a calendar looks like, and every square on the calendar had 5 or 6 different values, to try and create formulas that would reference that wild, just crazy layout.
We'll put your solution on the website, but can you describe to me, and I'll type along with you, the general way he should do this?
Sure. So I'll have columns with a store number and the date of last visit.
So I'm going to say store number is in column A.
Right.
And I'm going to have column B be date of last visit. Okay.
Right. And then I kind of skipped one column, and then I started the area that had all of the formulas. So you can imagine the first column, because we visit each store every month, in the course of a year, there's going to be 12 times as many records as stores.
Right.
But then I built a nice little table that just has each store listed once.
Okay.
And for each store listed once, then I wrote a formula that says, okay, when was the last time we were at this store?
Okay.
Which was,
that's the date of last visit. Okay.
Right. And then we know that we want to visit the store 28 days later. So I had a column there that's 28. He said there are some stores that they visit every 6 weeks.
So column C would be then, say, the gap, I'll call it, between visits.
Gap, right.
Okay, gap between visits. Okay. And then the column D will be the date of next visit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And that's just a simple add the date of the last visit to the gap, and you get the...
okay, so I'm going to do 4107. The gap is going to be 28. Should it be in days?
Just 28, right?
28. And then how do I add, that's I guess the question, add a number to a date to get it to equal a date?
Sure, it should work. If you type the equal sign, touch the date, then the plus sign,
the
touch
gap,
the 28.
Yeah. And hit return?
Hit return.
Is it going to be smart enough? Here we go. Look at that, it did it.
It did it.
And in fact, what if, let's just try this. What if I make it 120 days? Let's see if this can actually figure out the month change. It did, 7/30. So Excel is smart enough to do those date calculations automatically. It sees that the first item is formatted in a date. And so it says, oh, well, obviously the result is going to be a date.
Right. Now, every once in a while, though, like let's say that column had previously been formatted, you're going to get a weird number like 39075.
Right.
That's the way that Excel stores dates. And if you see that, don't panic. Just go into Format Cells and change it over to a date format.
Now, we're in a Office 2007, so you can see that this is it's actually a very nice tile that shows us the number format. And I can choose any variety. If it were numbers, watch, see, it is 38,293.00. But I just go back and I say, no, that's a date. I can even choose short date or long date, and it'll even tell me the day of the week if I choose long date.
Now, if Ralph doesn't like the guys calling on the stores, he could actually print the calendar with the 38293 and say that you have to be there 38,000 days after January 1st, 1900. That's right.
You figure out when that is. Oh, excellent. So really, it's a very simple thing to do. He was getting in trouble because he'd done the formatting first and made it very hard to make a formula.
Right. If you can imagine how a calendar would look, he had Monday through Friday going across, and then each week going down, and so you just don't have a nice contiguous block of data. It was really
start with the data and the problem, and then do the presentation last. Can we take your spreadsheet that you've done for Ralph, put it on our website so people can see your solution?
Do that. I'll send it out, and I'll send a copy to Ralph too, and make sure that it's doing what he needs it to do.
Bless you, Bill. You are the greatest. Mr. Excel answers tens of thousands of questions absolutely free on his website, mrexcel.com. Questions just like this one. He just likes to do it, I guess. I don't know why. And of course, he's written some of the best books on Excel. You can find them also at mrexcel.com. Thanks, Bill.
That's great, Leo. Thanks for the call.
And I can't wait for you to come up and see our new digs here in Vancouver.
Can't wait to be in Vancouver.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. See, that was nice. That was good. Now, will you translate for Ralph?
Actually, I think built on a contact Ralph directly.
Put that in Liverpudlian.
I don't know if I can, actually.
You said there's only one accent tougher.
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Newcastle, right from the north, yeah.
The farther north you get, the tougher it is. Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break, and we will come back. Do we want to do the quiz? All right, let's do the quiz. What, or who, I should say, wrote the first compiler for a computer language? Was it J.C.R. Licklider? Was it Bill Gates? Was it Admiral Grace Hopper? Or was it C-3PO? The first computer language compiler. Get to the website, give us the answer, and we'll talk about it when the lab returns.
Pam. Can you call my mom?
Effective nighttime cold and flu symptom relief in just one dose. Vicks NyQuil Cold and Flu relieves nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, so you can sleep with a cold.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
The Axe-Apollo Space Academy. Join now at axeapollo.com for your chance to go to space.
Everyone's hair breaks. Dare to see the difference with Pantene Anti-Breakage. Reduces hair fall up to 97%. Get less hair fall.
I took the dare. Will you?
Anti-Breakage. Pantene.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
Hey, oh, I'm sorry. Welcome back. We were just dancing. Sean, you made a catchy song. Welcome back to the lab with Leah. Let's get another caller on the line here. And do you have somebody for me, Kate?
I do. It's Mike from Ajax, Ontario.
Ah, Mike from Ajax. I haven't talked to him in ever. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, Leo. How's it going, buddy?
I'm great. Welcome to the show. What can we do? What can we do for you today?
Just wondering about antivirus. I had Norton's for a while, and then my subscription kind of expired.
Hallelujah!
I was wondering.
Free at last! Free at last!
Yeah. I was wondering, like, what are the options with antivirus?
It's a great question. I am not a fan of Norton, as you probably gathered. It is kind of the default. Norton and McAfee are kind of the default on most PCs. They come with that. That should tell you something right there. My opinion on Norton is that it's bloated. Same thing with McAfee. They're too big. They slow your system down. We know they slow your system down a lot, 10, 15%.
Or more.
Or more, yeah. And Steve Gibson's here, and of course he's a security expert. He seems to be agreeing with me. There's another issue about Norton and McAfee is that they're so well known that they're often targeted by viruses. If a virus does get on your system, the first thing it looks for is Norton and says, see ya. So I think in some ways you're better off using a lesser known antivirus. Now, I should point out that neither Steve nor I run antiviruses on a regular basis.
We're just very careful.
Behavior is the #1 determinant on whether you're going to get infected by spyware. And there's 5 basic things. I just beat this into everybody's head, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to give you your answer, okay? But I just want to say this. If your behavior changes in these 5 areas, an antivirus is just kind of a backup. You're the first line of defense. It's not a bad idea to have an antivirus and scan weekly just to make sure that you nothing's fallen through the cracks. #1, update your operating system regularly. And I mean install any updates that are available, especially those critical updates, because the minute those critical updates come out for Mac or Windows, or even Linux, hackers are looking at them to see if they can find a hole. So it's imperative you install those right away. So always update your operating system. That'll block any kind of involuntary holes. Then your behavior is important in terms of not opening email attachments. I turn off HTML email entirely. I think email is the #1 vector for viruses still. That's how viruses get in your system. So attachments are often viruses. Unless you specifically requested it or know it's coming and you know that the person who's sending it to you has as good a hygiene habit as you do, I say stay away from attachments. There are a lot of other ways to share files without attachments. You should also make sure that you run a firewall, and that can be something as simple as a hardware router, a broadband router that you use to share your internet access, or it can be Windows' own firewall. Either one will protect you against those worms that are always floating around the net, like Sasser, Zotab, MS Blaster. They're always on the net. They're just floating around, and if you don't have a firewall, you will get infected right away. So that firewall goes hand in hand with updating your operating system to prevent you from passive infection. Let's see, that's 3. I'm sure there's some more. I have it in the show notes here. Backup, of course, is very, very important. Oh, I know what the 5th one is don't download files from kind of unknown places. I think it's really important that people who do file sharing, especially music file sharing, are often unwittingly downloading spyware and viruses. Where you get your file, a file is dangerous. Treat it as dangerous. Quarantine it. Don't do it. Avoid it if you can. But if you do all those things, I guess another one would be when a website asks you, may I install some software? Say no. Just say no. I personally recommend that you lock down your browser. Now, Steve uses Internet Explorer, but he locks it down by saying everything's untrusted unless I say it's trusted. You can do that in the options. I personally use Firefox, and I think that's another way to go. Either way will prevent a lot of spyware infections. Now, having said that, you've got the behavior, you're not going to get viruses, you still want to have an antivirus, and I don't blame you. There's 2 places I would go to look. The most recent is av-comparatives.org. This is an antivirus comparatives site. Every month, they take a set of known viruses, I think well over 50,000 different, actually, I'm sorry, 500,000 different viruses, and they test these antiviruses against them, and they give them scores. Now, interestingly, Norton antivirus does very well. Excellent, high, and excellent in its results. It detected 97% of all the viruses that were thrown at. That's in the top 5. So it doesn't mean it's a bad antivirus, it's just bloated, it just slows you down. It's not ineffective. There are better ones out there. For instance, Nod32, which is my favorite, is a very good antivirus and doesn't slow you down. Windows OneCare, Microsoft's, is the worst in the bunch, 82%. It means it missed 18% of all viruses. What was the best? Kaspersky Labs, and in particular Kaspersky, which is a Russian antivirus company, when used with AVG, which is a free antivirus. Yeah. So I think AVG, that's what you recommend, right, Steve?
AVG is great. No, I agree with you about Nod32. It's a great alternative. And both of them are smaller. They're not trying to be everything for everybody. I mean, what happened was these large companies, Symantec and McAfee, they started getting into a feature war with each other, and they added features. I mean, and the problem is they're hooking so deeply into the operating system that now they're even fighting with Microsoft because Vista is like hostile to them. It's like, get out of my kernel.
Let me ask you, we don't know who won the feature war, but we know who lost. We did. If you're curious what the #1 antivirus, at least in the most recent AV comparatives, was Antivirus Kit, AVK, from GData Security, which combines Kaspersky with AVG. Yep. 99.5% reliable. It only missed
lighter weight.
And lightweight.
Yeah.
So I use Nod32, but again, I don't run it in the background. I just use it to scan once a week in case I blew it somehow.
Yep.
I imagine you do something similar.
Yep. If your system goes kind of strange and you want to make sure there's nothing crawling around, and then you do a scan.
Here's another good site if you want more background. This is also independent like AV Comparatives. It's the Virus Bulletin, virusbtn.com. And they also do what they call the 100, where they give awards for 100% detection. Their results are pretty much the same as AV Comparatives, but it's worth reading them both to choose. Download AVG. It's free. free.grisoft.com. You'll be protected. Okay?
All right, thanks, Lou.
Hey, I thank you for the call. And again, it's your behavior. You're the first line of defense. And once you get a virus, you're going to wish you didn't. So it's incumbent on everybody to do the best they can to protect themselves. All right, time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Iliad. More of your calls, too. Iliad had created the great user-friendly comic strip online. You stay right here.
Can you call my mom?
Effective nighttime cold and flu symptom relief in just one dose. Vicks NyQuil Cold and Flu relieves nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, so you can sleep with a cold.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
Twins moved back home from university.
We were going through so much of that bargain detergent.
Yeah, but since we switched to Tide, we use much less. It's an amazing clean for our full-grown, dependent bundles of joy. That's my Tide. What's yours?
Rated T for teen. Download now and play for free at worldoftanks.ca.
Hi, welcome back to the Lab with Leo Laporte. I love it when Steve Gibson is here because then I don't have to work so hard. I just ask Steve to give me the answer. Let's see if we can get another caller on here. Ms. Kate Abraham, you got somebody?
We have Ian from down the road in Richmond, BC. Just got back from school.
I hear Richmond is the sunny part of Vancouver.
I haven't ventured that far
Yes,
out yet.
I hear it doesn't rain. Is it raining right now, Ian, in Richmond?
Not really.
You see? It's raining here, but it's not raining in Richmond. The sunny side of the street. Well, what can I do for you, Ian?
Recently I just installed my Windows Vista Ultimate, which I bought from Feature Shop.
Oh, how nice.
And it was really good, and so I installed it and all that, but I completely forgot to dual boot with XP.
Right.
And so...
So when you bought the machine, did it have Vista on it?
No, it was just XP.
It was an XP machine, and you installed Vista...
Yes.
And wiped out XP?
Yes.
Upgraded it, in other words. Okay. But you want XP back?
Yeah.
You can't I mean, you know, it's funny, I had this long discussion on the radio show a few weeks back on what you could do. Is there a way to keep Vista and then install XP? Obviously, you'd have to make a partition. You could install XP. The problem is it's much easier to do it with XP first and then Vista, because what happens is when Vista sees XP, it will make a new partition. It will put a bootloader on the XP drive. See, XP doesn't know about Vista, but Vista knows about XP. So it'll put a bootloader on the XP drive that then says, okay, now what do you want? You want me or you want Vista? Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, if you've already got Vista on there, you can make the partition, you can put XP on, but XP is going to immediately overwrite the master boot record, and when you next turn your machine on, there's not going to be a trace of Vista. It'll still be there on the hard drive taking up space, but you won't be able to boot it. Then you're going to have to, it may be possible at that point to, I don't think so, but it's possible perhaps with a third-party bootloader. I have people who swear they've done this to make this work, or I don't know, modify it, but it's much better really at this point. Have you done a lot of work with a computer? I mean, have you put a lot of stuff on it?
Oh, totally.
Oh, rats. Because the easiest thing to do would be wipe the drive and install XP.
I tried that before. I tried many solutions. I checked on the internet about editing from the XP part. But the problem here is that it's so strange because when I do wipe out Vista and put an XP CD, and do you know how when you install XP, it shows that all the partitions in the drive and which one you
says where do you want to install it?
Yeah, but it doesn't show that at all.
It doesn't show the Vista. It doesn't show the Vista partition.
It doesn't show any partition at all.
Huh. And can you then create partitions? Does it show
no,
free?
You can't.
It doesn't show any free space.
No.
Have you wiped the drive before you do it? Is Vista on there, or you actually erased the drive first?
I erased the drive first, and then I tried putting the XP in, and I couldn't find any empty partitions, which I do have.
Here's what you have to do. When you first start the XP installer, right at the beginning it says press F6 to install new drivers. The problem is XP doesn't know about your SATA drives. It's a new machine and it doesn't have drivers for those drives. There should be a floppy or a CD that came with the computer that has drivers for that particular hard drive. So you'll see right at the bottom, it'll say right at the beginning, press F6 to install additional drivers. At that point, you stick the disk in. It'll load in the drivers, and then it'll see the disk, and you'll be able to go from there.
Oh.
That's fairly common, unfortunately, because XP's 5 years old. Doesn't know about things like new hard drives. Okay, Ian, what school do you go to?
I go to McNeil.
McNeil and in beautiful Richmond, or?
Yeah.
All right, and what is the McNeil mascot?
It's a raven.
Go Ravens!
Yeah.
Hey, I could be the mascot. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks.
All right, let's do our quiz question. Then it's Iliad to talk about online cartooning and comicking. Who wrote the first compiler for a computer language? Was it J.C.R. Licklider, Bill Gates, Admiral Grace, or C-3PO? Go to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it as the lab returns.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand.
That'll save the day. So will Bounty Selecticize. It's the smaller, powerful sheet. Look, one Selecticize sheet of Bounty is 50% more absorbent than a full-size sheet of the Bird brand. Use less with Bounty Selecticize.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand. What men want.
Nobody else has a class exclusive 8-speed transmission. Nobody else gets 36 miles per gallon. And nobody else rises to the challenge with a class exclusive height adjustable air suspension. 3 reasons why the all-new Ram 1500 is the 2013 North American Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram.
Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you who wrote the first compiler for a computer language. Will it help if I tell you the language was COBOL? Would it help if I told you it was 1960, what was it, 63, 64? It was very early on. It was Admiral Grace Hopper, even earlier? When do you think when was it, Sean, that she wrote? 50s, really? Wow. COBOL, C-O-B-O-L. Now, that's another quiz question, what COBOL stands for. Grace Hopper just passed away just a year or so ago, but she really was a legendary figure in computer science. And as we mentioned in an earlier quiz, maybe it was the later quiz. I think it's a later quiz. It's coming up. We'll talk about her some more. Hey, I want to talk about J.D. Frazier, who is one of my favorite cartoonists. He's Iliad, and you see his cartoons, and have for the last 10 years on the internet, user-friendly.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so great to see you. We talked on the Screensavers maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. But Patrick and I have always loved user-friendly. Patrick would come to me, I would say, at least weekly, and say, look at this, because you cover open source. It's a geek cartoon.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on tech issues, even the politics around tech issues, social impact of what technology has a handle on.
We have one here so you can just see what they look like. You'll recognize them because they're shared all over the internet all the time.
Yes, they are.
Do you want to read this one out loud to us?
Sure. Miranda says, well done, you've created the murderous beer fridge. Now, a little bit of backstory. There was a student in Duke University who created a beer fridge that, with a hit of a button on a remote control, would launch a can of beer at him 20 feet away at his couch.
There's a video on YouTube of him catching beer after beer.
I wish I was that clever. So, our friend
You need to know the background with these, and that's the fun part, because they're in-jokes in the geek community.
Correct.
We all know what
that's right. 80% of the people who read the strip are geeks, and they get it.
Yeah.
So, Mike, who's the fellow down there kneeling by the fridge with a hat off, says, must be something wrong with the 3 laws logic. Miranda replies, wait, what 3 laws? Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. You know what I'm referring to here.
Of course.
Never harming human beings being one of them.
Yes.
The very ones. Miranda says, why do you need 3 laws for a beer dispenser? And Mike says, note the growing purple contusion on my forehead. The previous cartoon has that beer can nailing him right between the eyes. So.
Okay, in there you already have 2 major references to geek arcana that only a geek would get, the Asimov laws and this beer fridge.
Yes, correct.
You've never shied away from doing that.
No, because that's the niche that I like to address. It's who I am, and it's people that I like to speak to.
And I think it's a secret to your popularity, because if you're that kind of person, you get this. And that raises the whole issue, and you've actually written a book about this, talked about this, how to become a cartoonist, a published cartoonist, without going through United Features Syndicate or one of the big newspapers.
Right. The name of the book is Money for Content, Clicks for Free, and you can find it on Amazon. It's available there. The premise behind it is to shy away from the old infrastructure, from the way that people have been doing things for a very long time. And we can do that simply because the internet exists.
And it's not just cartoonists, it's musicians, it's television performers, it's any form of media, really.
Yes, columnists, for example, they don't need to go through a syndicate.
You got blogs.
That's right, blogs are everywhere.
So 10 years ago, 1997, it's very early on. Were you a cartoonist at the time?
I was a scribbler at the time.
Right.
Arguably, I still am, but
I don't know. I think you're pretty good.
Well, thank you, but I'm more of a writer than an artist mostly, so the art
Right.
supports the writing.
Right.
However, having said that, yes, I did scribble at the time. I did have an idea for a cartoon.
Did you have a dream of going to United Features?
Oh, yes. Most cartoonists do. People
Sure.
who haven't become cartoonists, and even when you are a cartoonist, you have this dream that you want. What you want to do is just draw fun stuff every day, have your voice out there, and the big, powerful syndicates will take care of you.
And get paid, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So did you pursue that?
I did. I did about a dozen cartoons, and the very best work I could do, sent them to the six big syndicates, and very promptly got 6 rejection letters.
Right.
Yes.
And what was the common thread in those rejection letters?
Well, being...
You stink,
well, no,
you're
they're
not
never,
funny.
They're never quite like that. What they say, it's not suitable for our needs at this moment. And it was almost like a Xerox. If you looked at all 6 of them, it looked like they all came from the same copy.
Well, I'm sure it is, pretty much. they make a few of those a day, I'm sure. Right. So what did you do next?
I gave up. What else could you do? If the syndicates say no, because that's the way the old infrastructure worked, you've got no place to go. And all of a sudden the net shows up with the web, it gets really big, and I said to myself, maybe I should do something on the web. Now, this was not to get popular. This is solely for me to have a venue where I could vent, yes.
And I think that's really what motivates a lot of people who put their content on the web. You don't expect to get rich and famous doing it, but you do it because it gives you a chance to have a voice.
Yes, very true.
So how hard was that to do?
It wasn't. It was actually very simple. As it turns out, I was the web services manager of an ISP at the time, so I had access to a big, expensive web server and all the hosting I could use, and sure enough, I did use it.
How many comics later? 10 years?
Oh, geez. One a day, every day.
Really?
Yes.
You haven't missed a day?
Not a day.
Iliad,
I try not to count. I try not to count.
Don't count. Stop right
every
there.
one of those cartoon strips means I'm a day older.
And you have some particular favorites?
I don't. A lot of other people do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of artists, when you finish something, you don't like to look at your past work because it just reminds you of how bad you were.
You know what's great, and I think this is really true, and this is something that is new. In the old days, to become successful in the mass media, you had to hit a mass audience.
Yes, correct.
Nowadays, you can, and this is what we do, and it's what a lot of people do on the web, you can target an audience. You can say, I'm going to write a comic strip for open source geeks.
Right.
And not only find an audience, find a very good audience. Can you make a living doing this?
You can make a living if you try hard enough, if you're good enough, and actually when it comes down to whether or not you're good enough, it's up to the audience. If they say you're good enough, you can make a living from it.
It's what they say.
It's exactly what they say.
And it's been good for you, then.
It has been just fine.
Your advice to a budding cartoonist?
Well, one of two things you will absolutely have to do. You will either have to accept the fact that you're only going to make beer money from it.
Right. But do it for the love of it.
Do it for the love of it, and you actually have a life, or you don't have a life, and you can make a living from it.
And I tell that to podcasters, too. Actually, I just say, follow your passion.
Yes,
do what you love. Everything else takes care of itself afterwards. J.D. Frazier is Iliad, and it is the best, I think, the best geek comic strip ever. And it is available online at userfriendly.org. And the book is available at Amazon.com.
Amazon, that's right. Yep.
Money
for content, and your
clicks
for free. With apologies to Mark Knopf for the entire scripts.
We'll be right back with closing words right after this. Stay here.
Hello.
How you chewing?
Chewing? Good, I guess.
Chewing good. I'm calling to tell you about new Stride Doodleberry gum. There's tons of sweet watermelon and tangy raspberry flavor in every piece.
So you're calling me to talk about gum?
Yeah, I've got one framed on my desk right now. It's beautiful. You should buy some.
Sure.
Oh yeah, ring one up for the bird. That's another one, Frank.
9. New Stride Doodleberry.
Today's world is moving quickly. Computers are changing the way we work, play, and learn. Come be part of the future at Trias College. Visit getintothegame.ca and discover video game development. Or call 1-888-375-5952.
Imagine all men with sensitive skin would stop shaving. A way better solution? Nivea for Men Sensitive Skin Aftershave Balm provides an instant cooling feeling from the world's #1 men's skincare brand, What Men Want.
Introducing a match made in skin heaven. New Venus and Olay. Olay Moisture Bars help lock in moisture, while 5 blades get Venus close. Revealing smooth and goddess skin begins. Only from Venus and Olay.
Oh, you guys are so. Have you read User Friendly? Have you ever read that?
No.
You've got it. It's so great.
It's a ton of really cool stuff.
Iliad, have you ever said something or had a reference in the comic that was so geeky you thought nobody would get it?
Yes, I did.
What?
I did a cartoon strip that referred to an IP address that was that belonged to one of Red Hat's servers.
Yeah.
And they got it.
People got it?
They got it.
They knew.
Unbelievable.
You can't get away with anything with geeks. And what do you think of all
technical
this?
accuracy.
Yes.
Right over your
Right over my head.
Fine, that's fine. Hey, we thank you for joining us. We want to remind you, go to our website, labwithleo.com. That's where you can sign up to ask a question on the air, because we'd love to get you on the show. We are glad you were here today, and we hope you'll come back. I'm Leo Laporte. We'll see you later on.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Weaver and welcome to Tech Books. Today I'm talking with Michelle Borba, who's an internationally renowned educator and consultant who specializes in the issues that surround young relationships and in particular bullying, school dynamics, community dynamics with young people. When I heard that she was in town, I wanted to talk with her about all the headlines that we're now seeing, bullying going into cyberspace. So today we're sitting down on location with Michelle Borba, who has won the Educator of the Year Award in the United States, to get her thoughts on where she thinks school dynamics are going with the introduction of the internet, instant messaging, kids with pagers, cell phones, and all the high-tech devices. Please stay with us. Well, Michelle, I'm delighted to have the chance to talk with you while you're here in Toronto. Sadly, the focus of your new book is becoming a really major concern for not only parents and children, but schools, and then us as a society, in part because we now have cyberbullying and cyberstalking and the whole new connection to the internet, which then broadcasts information, misinformation, abusive information worldwide. But let's start by, with the foundations. What is the difference between bullying and teasing?
Oh, I'm so glad. It's a great question because too often we put those two together and they're quite different. Teasing is really between friends. It's an equal plane, and teasing can be friendly or it can be unfriendly. But the good thing to talk to a child about is it's your friend making fun of you or with you. And once your child knows the difference, it takes a little bit of the ease off of it.
Right.
Bullying is up 5 levels. It is deliberate, intentional pain to cause another child really that feeling of deliberate suffering. It's also unequal. You never have 2 kids on the equal same plane. It's one child above it, and very often they're all continually victimizing a same child.
Now, when you say above it, are they age-wise, physically, a gang with them? Is that sort of...
Think about one child on one child. When you get more than one child, it's called mobbing. So at this point, it's called one child, and it could be same age, it could be different ages, but it's always aiming usually for one child who looks a little more vulnerable. It's plain darn cruel.
Right. Now, how do parents spot bullying? Either that their child might have bullying